The absolute first thing you need to know as a jungler going into Season 15 and all of the jungle-related changes, and trust me, there are a lot, is that there are new epic monsters. The spawn timers of the current epic monsters have changed. Teleport is really strange. Feats of strength is a new early game thing for your early game junglers. Your runes are gonna change, no eyeball collection anymore, and your boots can now be astronomically broken with further upgrades. And if you are struggling to close games out, hey, guess what? Now there's a new epic monster called Atakhan. We'll get into that in a second because the most important thing for all junglers is the feats of strength mechanic. First Blood no longer gives you 100 bonus gold, nor does it generate 50 bonus gold towards assists. That's all gone. It's all just like getting a regular kill. Now instead, we have a tier stacking mechanic. Best of 3 competition, first to 2 wins. And this is how you play. If you get a first blood, you score a first turret, or you take down the first 3 epic monsters, you get 2 of those 3, you will get a special reward. That reward automatically modifies the boots you have and will buy into a tier 2 triumphant version. This simply gives them a small stat boost. So Swifties gives you +5 movement speed, Ionian boots gives you +5 haste, so they become what they used to be. Plated steel caps, merc treads, you all get a little bit of a stat boost automatically and free of charge. You have the opportunity from your level 2 boots that are freely upgraded to buy tier 3 boots for 750 cash money gold. This makes them quite strong, as you can see from some of the effects on your screen now. A lot of juice buff to the boots, but remember, this costs 750. It's just the ability and the option to do so. You will have to compromise your item spikes, other things you're buying, and determine if it's worth it over finishing a death cap, if it's worth it over just buying a needlessly large rod, if it's worth it over buying 6 tiers and running it down. You have to weigh those pros and cons, but when it comes to late game and it's 6 items and no one's really been able to close, yeah, you get this free 750 to spend, and that's gonna be quite determining in who's gonna win games. And hey, if you wanna climb like Bone Void in Season 15, all these changes will be adapted and put into the courses as soon as the season is stable. So join up right now, get the free Jungle Improvement PDF, prep those fundamentals, and get your season started in the right way. Let's hit those dreams. No more splits, one whole season. Let's do it together. Oh, and of course, a new scoreboard UI at the bottom will track your completed quests, so you can kind of keep track of it. If in fact counting to 3 is difficult for you, I know ADC mains struggle with that a little bit. So the first blood mechanic here, while you don't get that bonus gold, any junglers that like level 2 invades or Shakos that just like the level 3, kill bot lanes, you really want to be on top of getting those first bloods if you're that kind of aggressive jungler. Now, if you're not an aggressive jungler like that and you want to get 2 out of the 3 things for feats of strength, you're playing Hecarim, you're playing Karthus, hey, don't worry whatsoever, because the first turret is the thing you can get next, along with your objective control. However, play through it in your mind. What is a Lee Sin, a Shaker, a Rexit gonna do? They're gonna try and gank early, get first blood. Cool. Then they're gonna use that to dive and kill top laners to try and maximize plate gold, and there are some nerfs to turrets and minions that are important for junglers, but we'll get to that at the end. And then they're gonna try and really push the tempo to get feats of strengths completed. Now, there will be comeback mechanics for you, we'll see in the next section, but ideally what I'm gonna tell you to do as a more passive jungler here is ensure you grab either first dragon or first grubs. 1 pit counts as, doing a full objective for your team. Because once you get 1, you can easily stack the next 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, whatever the objective combination ends up being. But I ideally suggest going for the grubbies. Get the dragon for sure, but you want the first 2 grubs and a dragon if you can, because then you want to really push for that first turret. You might not get first blood against those aggressive junglers, but you could very easily get 3 objectives notched, and you can get the first turret by ganking, diving, and picking a winning lane to path towards. That is, of course, what farming junglers do, right? You sequence in a direction, you look for something, you base, you look again, nothing, okay, you sequence again. You're gonna end up on the same side a few times. Really look to play with your ultimate, get those lanes ahead, control grubs, and then try and snack off those turrets. If you're an aggressive jungler, obviously, your life is a lot more straightforward if you can get that first blood. And obviously, we all hope to hell that they nerf level 1 strategies or remove it, because the cheese for first blood is really going to be coming through. And now you're thinking, okay, so I get it here, but what if, just hypothetically, I got scaling lanes, the enemy jungler gets first blood, they get the first 3 objectives, they get first turret, it's just losing, it's doomed, right? Well, not quite. See, Rift Herald is now going to spawn at 60 minutes and not 40 minutes, and Baron is going to spawn at 25 minutes and not 20 minutes. That is a massive shift, something we've never seen before in terms of early to mid to late game transition phase. It also means that if you are able to hold turrets as a jungler when your laners die, they ain't going to have that Herald at 14 to punch it through, right? So you can hold on a little bit longer as well, maybe get the Herald yourself. The reason for all of this, as you all are aware of at this point, I think, is Atakhan, the new monster that's gonna spawn at 20. There are two versions, one regular dude and one Voracious. That last one there means, you know, a lot of hunger. He wants to consume. And this is because it will depend on how the game is going. A lot of kills, a lot of action, a lot of fisting and fighting and fiesta. You're gonna get the regular version, and it's gonna spawn on the side of the map where most of the kills took place. If it's a quieter game with a lot of scaling, no kills, relaxed, the Voracious Atakhan will show up instead, and that's because he's hungry because you didn't feed him kills throughout the game. Yeah, I know it's a little backwards, but we're gonna roll with it. The location of his spawn is at the top or bottom river, as I just explained, and the cutoff for the amount of action required to generate the Atakhan is at 14. Now, there are different fighting mechanics for the two variants, and the Ruinous Atakhan, that's the normal one actually, he does have a name. I just realized he actually has a name. You know, he has a Darius Q, for example, while the Voracious one has a Fiddle W Sucky Sucky when it gets lower HP to make it harder to kill, right? Because the rewards for this one are gonna be a little bit weird. First and foremost, game doesn't have a lot of action. You get the Voracious Atakhan, you get told at 40 minutes where it's gonna spawn, you prep yourself, and then you show up ready to fist it and fight it. When you kill it, and hopefully no one interferes with you, you get two buffs. One is temporary for 150 seconds. What this effectively does, it makes you unkillable. When you die, you actually enter a resurrection kind of guardian angel weird thing where you get sent back to base. You don't actually give the gold, the kill gold, over to the enemy. They get some flowers, which I'll explain in a second, plus 100 gold, but they don't get the full kill bounty, and if you've got a shutdown, you can imagine how strong that is. But that's a temporary thing that you now have to use to push the map forward. Yes, you can't close games, you get an Atakhan, there's been not a lot of kills, no one's really fed. Cool, you got 150 seconds to use this to shove up and present yourself an ability to snack the Baron at 25. Also though, for the rest of the game, you get yourself 40 gold when you score a champion killdown. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but you know, it's for the entire game, you get an extra 40 gold, you get 10 kills, it's 400 gold. It's not massive, but it could allow you to complete items at specific breakpoints, and from there you can close out. But this to me should be the unique thing, because even if you're farming jungle with a scaling team comp, you still want to look for action, you still want to get kills, you still want to snowball. And the reason for this is, even if you don't get the feats of strength, you still want the Ruinous Atakhan, because the buff from this one is 25% increased effects from all epic monster buffs. Yes, from grub effects and turret to the Eye of the Herald giving an increased 25% health. Every Dragon Slayer buff, every dragon you get, 25% more. Hey, you know that Elder Dragon you get to close the game out? 25% more damage. Baron? Oh, 25% more attack damage and ability power. This is outrageous. So even if you have to give up feats of strength on those early objectives, the prerogative here for you is to deny this Ruinous Atakhan to the snowballing early game team comp, because otherwise you're gonna have a very tough time trying to close out when they have two dragons, all the grubs, a herald, and how they secure the Baron. Games will be very difficult to win from that regard. And thus my prediction here, my loose prediction is, we're gonna see a lot more action early from all kinds of junglers to impact the map, get feats of strength, and then focus on the Ruinous Atakhan, because closing out with this should be so much easier. Okay, so we've got some cool new mechanics for feats of strength. First Blood no longer grants bonus gold. Oh, and hey, the first turret that also doesn't grant bonus gold, so whoop-de-doo for all of us. We'll get to the turret in a second, because first and foremost, I've mentioned and you've noticed in the footage, hey, what are these jungle plants, these blood roses, these large roses that fall on the ground? You kill an Atakhan, a whole bunch of roses. Before the Atakhan spawns, a bunch of roses. When you kill people across the entire map, you'll notice that corpses are spawning bloody petals, or bloody roses at this point. So what this does is effectively turn junglers mostly, but everybody else, into Bard. Why have troll bards running across the map outside of their role and making everybody miserable when you can do your role and also be the Bard? Pick up the petals, get yourself 25 experience, and some bonus adaptive force. You stack it, you stack it, you stack it. These are permanent. So when you kill that Ruinous Atakhan and it leaves a whole bunch of roses on the floor, pick it up, baby, pick it up. When you see dead people from the ganks you've done, pick up the petals and the roses. From 14 minutes to 20, Atakhan will have these roses spawn in the vicinity, stack it up and get yourself really strong for that 20-minute fight, because I think it's gonna determine a lot of games. That is a lot for us to keep track of, and I will make a lot of videos at the beginning of this season to ensure that you understand how to actually play with these kind of mechanics, but it's important that you're aware this is what I think is gonna happen, and if you can be a Shaker or Rek'Sai and things like that and get ahead early, please do, because all of this stuff will stack in insane amounts of ways. You get all the petals, you get all the feats of strengths, you get the Ruinous Atakhan. Who's gonna stop you? Only yourself. Now, just so you know, when you've seen the footage here, look at this. Home guards, out of base, level 1, level 2, level 14,000. You go back to base with any recall, you will get home guards. It is a little shorter, and the death guard duration is increased to 20 seconds from 8, but effectively, everybody fast now at a base. And you'll also notice if you're a kind of jungler that says, Virkayu, this is good, I can stack my eyeball collection with all the aggression, I will win these games, sir, and I will go 15-0 in placements. Yeah, except here's the problem. Eyeball doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, they're removing it and replacing it with a vision ward rune thing. Yeah, so basically the stealth wards that you place and the totem wards that you place in the enemy jungler are considered deep, not deep from the boys, although this rune does kind of operate like deep from the boys' intelligence, but essentially all of those wards gain bonus health. How fun and enjoyable. And at level 11, these wards in the rivers will also be considered deep and gain a health bonus point. And they also last longer. So yeah, they've replaced Eyeball Collection, which is an amazing rune for basically every champion in the game, with Vision Viagra. They've done the same with Ghost Pour and Zombie Ward, which of course were already vision based, but they've just given them new ones, Grizzly Mementos, as well as Sixth Sense, essentially giving you new mechanics with your Trinket Haste, as well as, you know, tracking nearby wards with your scanner. Really, nothing too exciting, really a supportive focused thing, pro play focused thing. The cool rune shift, though, is taking Nullifying Orb and saying, no, you don't exist because you're terrible. And instead, we're going to give you Axiom Arcanist. And what this one does here is give your ultimate a 14% increase in damage, 9% for AoE, and as well as healing and shielding. And when you kill somebody, hey, you get a cooldown refund. So if you have something like Relentless Hunter, and then you also have the Sorcery secondary page, I'll be trying this on my champions for sure, you can have your ultimate up quite a lot. But the removal of Eyeball Collection is truly just perplexing and weird. Right, along with your regular balance of champions and items, we don't really need to talk about that because, you know, those things are just regular changes that you'll adapt to accordingly, or release best junglers so you can see what to play and what to build. But the turret damage, that's changing, in that the damage reduction is reduced from 85% to 50%. And also Nexus turrets now also respawn after 3 minutes. So when you're actually going to hit turrets, they're going to be easier to hit, the damage reduction is significantly less. But also when you try to end games and you don't actually hit the Nexus, yeah, those turrets will respawn, so make sure you close out. And additionally, the stacking damage to turrets that you have, yeah, that's going to increase up nicely and last longer from 3 to 5 seconds. You'll see in the infographic. Additionally, yes, even more stuff with regards to the laning phase, minions are changing. Regular minions are going to be much squishier, much easier to deal with. And what we're really looking at here is the first spawn time is increased to 235 from 205. That means the first siege minion, because they're beefier, stronger, you know, bigger, stronger, faster, instead of spawning at the 3rd wave, and they're not going to spawn at the 4th wave, this will give you a bit more of a gap in terms of getting ahead for those ganks and worrying about, you know, when you want to dive at that early phase. But here's the thing, all of the minions, melee, cast, siege, they will now do current HP against other lane minions. What we're looking at is easier to kill regular minions. They're trying to really force a turret damage amplification. They're trying to force a feature strength. Minions will die faster by killing each other. You'll have a slight advantage early with their lower HP. That'll normalize at level 6. But dives won't happen as much early because there won't be as many minions hitting the turrets. You'll do more damage to turrets, but they'll do more damage to you. We're gonna go at this from a pure Fiesta standpoint, from a purely snowballing standpoint. Farming junglers and scaling junglers who have less impact early, you're gonna miss out a lot. You're gonna have to change your jungling. Once more at the beginning of the season, there are so many mechanics for you to snowball early, snowball fast, snowball hard, get the first turret quickly because it's easier, kill the minions, get out of Can't Get Baron and close. This is going to be the goal of everybody. But there's also that option for scaling junglers to say, okay, look, if we can control the map a little bit better, not give up feature strength, because remember, yeah, you can go and take feature strength, but you can also back up and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not giving you first turret, I'm not giving you first objectives, I'm going to ensure that I delay that as much as possible. There's ways you can play around this, and then you get, of course, the Voracious Atakhan, get that GA, get that extra gold, and snowball your own way. But that feels like one little thing, my friends, versus all the things given to the snowball potential of the game. My advice is to go ahead and do your regular clear in your placements, full clear if you need to, but do not AFK farm. If you're a ganking jungler, an aggressive jungler, get your 3 quadrant, get into the action, and snowball hard as hell. Also, just worth noting, as we close here, Riot wanted to make teleport more predictable. You know, instead of just a 4-second channel that everyone can predict and understand, it's now variable. You have a 3-second channel, and then it can vary from 0.5 to 5 seconds, and you fly across the map. No idea why this is a thing, don't really understand it whatsoever, but you can use it at any stage of the game now. It's not locked out whatsoever. You can use it to minions, to wards, to plants. All is unlocked and able again. Who knows how that's going to play out, but that's just a wrinkle for you to pay attention to when you're jungling, trying to snowball and win. As always, Virkayu to GG will be updated. The private Discord will have all the information, and I will upload a lot of free content on YouTube for you guys to learn. Good luck in your placements. Let's see what the hell Riot gives to us this season.